everyone, so welcome to this day in Vlogmas. If you guys have already seen my tutorial on how to get these eyes for Christmas Eve, that is up. This is just the other half of it, which is my foundation routine. To start off, I always use my moisturizer, and this is Olay's Complete All Day Moisturizing Cream with sunscreen. I always put sunscreen on my skin. So I'm just taking my MAC brush. This is the one, oh crap. I think this is the 180. The numbers are starting to wear off. I just take it and dip it into my moisturizer. I do this way because when you put it on your fingers, you're putting product into your fingers as you're rubbing it in, and you're using more product, where this is just going right in contact with your skin. Then I use Smashbox Photo Finish Foundation Primer. I don't have to use this every day, but I like to, especially if I'm applying right in the morning, which I am, and it just gets me ready for the day, and I know that if I'm doing something throughout the day, it's really going to be set. And if I'm especially vlogging throughout the day, it just looks better on camera as well. So I just take a little bit of this, and I have a little tray that I actually put my foundation and this on, so that way it's not depositing into my skin and I'm not wasting any product. So I just take a little bit. A little bit of this goes a long way. I take the same brush that I just used, dab right into it. Now normally I actually do my foundation and this primer before I actually do my eyes, but I didn't want to do that in the video because then it totally would have been separated, so I just waited. So that way normally when this would set into my skin would be during the time that I'm doing my eyes. So I have two different types of foundations. One is actually my summer foundation and one is my winter foundation. My summer foundation is more lightweight. It's by IT Cosmetics. It's the CC Plus Illumination, and I get it in the color light. Now this is really great for just if you're really not doing much that day but you still want to put a little bit on your face. This is great even if it's not summertime, but this is a lot more sheer than what I do use in the winter. Because my skin, and I lose a tan and I have freckles and everything, my summer foundation or my winter foundation actually just holds better to my skin rather than in the summer where I can feel it kind of melting off, where this is just nice and lightweight. I put this right onto my fingers and I just buff it all in. But for winter I use the MAC Mineralize, and this is the Moisture SPF 15 foundation, and mine is in NC 25 in case you're curious. So I just take 2 pumps of this right onto the tray. I even put it right on top of where the primer just was, because I feel like if what's left on the tray is mixing in, it's just still primer in it. Then I also use for my concealer the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer, and this is in NW20. I obviously have used a lot. I just take a pump of this because what I've noticed is every time I pump it onto the tray, it actually expands. So I'm going to put that right in this corner. Sometimes it's even a pump and a half. Or not a pump and a half, it's a half a pump. Or it's a full pump. That was a half a pump. Then this is actually in a really funny container. I had it wasn't MAC, it was an Urban Decay concealer in a little pencil. Well, it looked like the NYX's jumbo pencils. Well, I stuck a pin because it was done. I couldn't put any more on, so I stuck a pin through it, and I noticed there was a bunch more in that tube. So I cut that tube up and I put everything into this little jar, what was left. I thought it was done. It would have been a total waste just to throw it out. So I cut it and I scooped out everything and put it into here. Now I'll show you what I do with these. I typically do my concealer first. Some people will do it differently. This is just me. So I actually have 2 different brushes. This is for my MAC one and this is for the Urban Decay one, because the Urban Decay one's a lot thicker. So I just get a little bit of it onto my brush. Here's what I do is I put a little bit right in here against my nose. I do a little bit of where you can see the difference from my under eye to my cheekbone, just to blend it out. I just dab this on. I have a little blemish that's still healing down here, so I'm just taking, since this is a lot thicker, I also take this through my Cupid's bow and finish it off around my nose. And I just do a little 3 strokes right here, and that's it for that one. I know it looks funny if you can see really well. Then I'm taking the one for my MAC, put a little bit on. This one I make a little triangle with, even when it goes right over top that Urban Decay, and I go over pretty close to the lash line, not too close. Now this is more based for under eye. But whatever's still left on this brush, I do take it right above my eyebrow. Some people will buff this out now. I do not. I actually take my stippling brush, put it into my foundation. Now I don't worry about it being all perfect yet. So then what I do is I actually take a beauty blender. This is not a beauty blender. This is actually just a knockoff one. It's a fake one from TJ Maxx, and they're $4. That's the reason I get them. They do the exact same thing. It just doesn't have the name beauty blender. So I got one of these. This one is well loved. I'm actually going to go get a new one today. So I wet it. I wrung it out. Sometimes I like to put a chapstick on because I can get messy and the foundation will get onto my lips and it's hard to get off sometimes. So, but whenever I have a really moisturized chapstick on, I'm able to wipe it off. And I start at my chin. So while this is still kind of tacky, I will do my contouring and any highlighting and sometimes my blush, because once I do my powder foundation over it, it just makes everything a lot softer. So I'm using Bare Minerals bronzer kit, and I am taking my angled brush. Now this is by, oh, the words completely came off. I want to say it's Sonia Kashuk, and it's the number 113. I just do a little bit of this toward my hairline. Bring it down toward my neck. Now I know it's looking dark, but it'll get better. As for my blush, I am using Urban Decay's, this is in Fetish. It is actually a cream blush. I just take it onto my ring finger, and I just pat this on. As for my highlight, I'm using MAC's Prep and Prime, and this is in Radiant Rose, and it looks like this. And I just do little dots like that. Then I'm just taking the bottom part of where I used my beauty blender or my sponge, and I just take that and buff it into my skin. And then as for my powder, some people do not use a foundation powder as well. Some people just end it with this and they'll put a translucent powder or a setting powder on top. I actually use a other foundation. This is just for me. I just like it a lot better. It just gives me a little bit more color, and this is a medium beige, and I'm using Bare Minerals. I'm taking my Real Techniques brush. Just because sometimes I feel like the powder doesn't exactly hit everywhere that I want it to hit, I also use a translucent powder translucent powder. And this is from Morphe brushes, and this is the Pro Powder Translucent for all tones. To me, it just feels a lot better once I do this. You don't have to do this part. This is just what I like to do. And I put it just on the same brush that I was just using. So sometimes, not always, I will use NYX Matte Finishing Spray, and this is a setting spray and it will leave you a matte finish. I'm going to use a little bit of it today, so I use it about here. It smells like wine. Maybe I'm just craving a glass of wine, but it smells like wine. And I just let that get in all into my skin. And that's typically it. Because the makeup is so subtle, the eyes and everything, it's not very out there. I feel like I can go with a lot bolder of a lip. Now this is by Rimmel London, and this is the Kate. I don't know who Kate is, but it's Kate's signed it, and it's the number 12. Alright, so here is the finished look with the lipstick on as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you guys really enjoyed the foundation routine. I'll probably do another one later on, or with any other type of looks I'm going to do, so I can show you how I customize them to each look. Just let me know if you like this. Give it a thumbs up, which would be awesome, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye guys.